On to a story from the UK. It has to do with Elon Musk, though, the British government, and a decade-old scandal. A scandal involving Pakistani grooming gangs in the UK. Let's just break it down for you. We are talking about the Rotherham child sexual exploitation scandal. It was a massive grooming scandal that was first uncovered in 2013. It has resurfaced now. And you have Elon Musk being talked about. What's really happening? Now, on the 1st of January, the tech billionaire opened a new front of attack against the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He accused Starmer of failing to bring rape gangs to justice. When he was head of the prosecution service more than a decade ago, he accused him of failing to bring to justice rape gangs when Starmer was the head of the country's prosecution service. In a series of posts on his social media platform, Musk said, and I'm quoting, "In the UK, serious crimes such as rape require the Crown Prosecution Service's approval for the police to charge suspects," quote unquote. His tweet, his post, brought attention on the Rotherham case. Now, the Conservatives have called for a national inquiry into child sexual exploitation. On Thursday, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch said that a full-blown probe was long overdue into the grooming scandals in the north of England. She said, and I'm quoting here, "Trials have taken place all over the country in recent years, but no one in authority has joined the dots." Badenoch said that 2025 must be the year that victims start to get justice. Tory frontbenchers Chris Philp and Alicia Kearns also wrote to Home Secretary Yvette Cooper demanding a national inquiry. Of course, they did not comment on why the Conservatives had not set up such a probe while they were in government. Now, what's the Labour Party's response, you ask? A Labour Party spokesperson said the party had already supported a national overarching inquiry into child abuse that reported in 2022. The party said, and I'm quoting here, "This government is working urgently to strengthen the law so that these crimes are properly reported and investigated." But Musk's comments were in response to renewed interest in the decade-old case. So what really was the UK's Rotherham scandal? Let's just tell you more. First brought into public focus by investigative journalism in the year 2012, the scandal involved the systematic abuse of at least 1,400 children, reportedly over 16 years. Victims, some as young as 11, endured unimaginable suffering, including rape, trafficking, violent intimidation. Who were the perpetrators? Men predominantly of Pakistani heritage, reportedly. For nearly 2 decades, institutional inaction and cultural hesitation allowed this abuse to persist unchecked, despite repeated warnings. The issue first came to light in September 2012, when the Times reported on a 2010 confidential police document. The document highlighted thousands of child sexual exploitation crimes in South Yorkshire annually. Despite awareness of these crimes for decades, local authorities had failed to act. In response to mounting public pressure, Rotherham Borough Council had commissioned an independent inquiry. It was led by Professor Alexis J. The report came out in 2014. It was shocking in its scope, to say the least. For 2 decades, the plight of thousands of young girls, barely teenagers, was swept under the carpet. Many victims were groomed and manipulated into compliance. Others were reportedly silenced through threats of violence. The report also exposed the systemic failures of the Rotherham Council, the South Yorkshire Police and other agencies. All these agencies and bodies of power had ignored or minimized the issue in a way. It showed how police forces, councils, charities and politicians prioritized community relations over protecting vulnerable women from monstrous sexual violence. As the majority of perpetrators were of Pakistani heritage, officials hesitated to confront the issue directly. it contributed to years of denial and inaction. There was reluctance on the part of the authorities to act. They feared being perceived as racist. In other words, they allowed little girls to be raped rather than risk being accused of racism by highlighting their abuse. Just imagine that. The scandal sparked widespread public outrage, leading to resignations of key officials and calls for systemic reform. And now the case is back with a vengeance. This week, Elon Musk shamed the British government. He has accused the Labour government of opposing an inquiry because he says it will show that those in power were complicit in the cover-up. He has blamed Keir Starmer for failing to prosecute the perpetrators when he was Director of Public Prosecutions. What's motivated Musk to go after the British Prime Minister now is anybody's guess. But just for clarity here, Musk has repeatedly criticized the British government. Last summer itself, he had said that a civil war was inevitable in Britain. He had called the Prime Minister Tories, a reference to the conspiracy theory that the far right is policed differently. Whatever Musk's motivations may be, the rejection of Pakistani grooming gangs inquiry will be awkward for the government, to say the least. To be fair, the Labour Party government has launched consultations and reviews on other policy areas over the past 6 months. It has made halving violence against women and girls as one of its core pledges. But critics are also asking, they are justified in asking, why the government is failing to launch a national inquiry into systemic child exploitation. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.